The sessions are also available online. The link is also shared in the chat box. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns, and also commemorating India's G20 presidency in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and sessions. The registration link for all the days of international webinar has been shared in the chat box. For each day, you have to fill the registration form on respective day to be eligible for the certificate as part of registration. So today, as we were commemorating various international days, in this week, we had few commemorations. On 3rd May, we had, in fact, World Press Freedom Day. And this year, the 30th anniversary edition of World Press Freedom Day included a lot of full day activities at the UN headquarters on 2nd May. So this year, the theme for the World Press Freedom Day is shaping a future for rights, freedom of expression as a driver for all other human rights. 2023 year marks the 30th anniversary of the World Press Freedom Day. 3 decades have passed since it was proclaimed in 1993, in which we have seen substantial progress towards achieving a free press and freedom of expression around the world. The proliferation of independent media in many countries and the rise of digital technologies have enabled the free flow of information. However, media freedom, safety of journalists, and freedom of expression are increasingly under attack, which impacts the fulfillment of other human rights. The international community faces multiple crises, conflicts, and violence, persistent socio-economic inequalities, driving mitigation, environmental crisis, and challenges to the health and well-being of the people all around the world. At the same time, disinformation and misinformation, online and offline, proliferate with serious impact on the institution underpinning democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. It is exactly to counter these critical situations and threats that press freedom, safety of journalists, and access to information take center stage. The right to freedom of expression enshrined in Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a prerequisite and a driver to the enjoyment of all other human rights. This year's special 30th anniversary celebration of the World Press Freedom Day is therefore a call to the recenter press freedom as well as independent, pluralistic, and diverse media as the key to enjoyment of all other human rights. So when we look at the origins or history or the purpose of this World Press Freedom Day, it was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in December 1993, following the recommendation of UNESCO's General Conference. Since then, 3rd May, the anniversary of the Declaration of Windhoek, is celebrated worldwide as the World Press Freedom Day. After 30 years, the historic connection made between the freedom to seek, impart, and receive information and the public good remains as relevant as it was at the time of signing. Special commemorations of 30th anniversary have been planned and conducted to take place, has taken place during the World Press Freedom Day International Conference. May 3rd acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom. It is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. It is an opportunity to celebrate the fundamental principles of press freedom, assess the state of press freedom throughout the world, defend the media from attacks on their independence, and pay tribute to the journalists who have lost their lives in the line of duty. As the United Nations agency with a specific mandate to promote the free flow of ideas by word and image, UNESCO works to foster free, independent, and pluralistic media in print, podcast, and online. Media development in this mode enhances freedom of expression and it contributes to peace, sustainability, poverty, eradication, and human rights. This year's award ceremony will take place on 2nd May, created in 1997. The annual prize honors a person, organization, or institution that has made an outstanding contribution to the defense and or promotion of press freedom anywhere in the world, especially when achieved in the face of danger. Freedom of expression is a human right. Freedom of expression is a fundamental human right, as stated in the Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek and receive and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. But we need to have a caution here that we need to exercise certain consciousness while expressing our freedom of expression. We have reasonable limitations we need to follow when we are exercising our freedom of speech and expression. It doesn't mean that you can violate, hurt, harm sentiments, beliefs, opinions of other people. Again, it's a violation of their freedom of speech and expression, and it can also lead to conflicts and disharmony and insecurity and various other social and legal issues in the society. So we can express our own beliefs and opinions, but we should ensure that if it is hurting the sentiments of other people or beliefs, we have to ensure certain caution because they also have the right to, they also have the freedom of speech and expression. And as you are getting into arguments or conflicts, they can also get into conflicts, and this can lead to a security issue or legal issue, and it can face the consequences, either legal or social. So we have to be careful. It doesn't mean that we have freedom of expression. That doesn't mean we can talk whatever we want, however we want, to whatever extent we can. It only means that we can express our feelings, thoughts, emotions, and opinions as long as they are in a proper way communicated and in a way that it is not hurting the sentiments of the other communities or people. Often we see this is highly misused and abused by many in the name of freedom of speech and expression. They think that they can say anything, they can talk anything, they can present or they can share their opinions on anything as they like. But in this process, if you hurt someone, then they also have the freedom of speech and expression, and they can also take the remedy by the law or constitution by hurting their sentiments and causing an harm. It can be an psychological or emotional or social harm, and it can also attract legal penalties. So we should also always be aware when we are exercising such freedom of speech and expression that we are not violating any of our freedom because we are not communicating to ourselves. See, the basic thing is when we are expressing, we are not just expressing to ourselves. Of course, you can sit alone and you can say whatever you want because no one else is involved. So that doesn't make, any issue because you are talking to yourself. That is intrapersonal communication. When you are communicating with other person, then there are also obligations, like here two persons are involved. Maybe if you are talking to a large audience, then along with you, there are other audience are also involved. Those have their own rights and their own beliefs and their own freedom of speech and expression. So that's why it is very much important. We need to exercise a caution. Otherwise, it can lead to, verbal fights and quarrels. So media freedom and access to information feed into wider development objective of an empowering people. Empowerment is a multidimensional social, political process that helps people gain control over their own lives. This can only be achieved through access to accurate, fair, and unbiased information representing a plurality of opinions and the means to actively communicate vertically and horizontally, thereby participating in the active life of the community. However, in order to make freedom of expression a reality, there must be a legal and regulatory environment that allows for an open, pluralistic media sector to emerge, a political will to support the sector, and rule of the law to protect it. Laws ensuring access to the information, especially information in the public domain, and the necessary media literacy skills among news consumers to critically analyze and synthesize the information they receive, to use it in their daily lives, and to hold media accountable for its actions or decisions. So these elements, along with the media professionals adhering to the highest ethical and professional standards designed by practitioners, serve as a fundamental infrastructure on which freedom of expression can prevail. On this basis, media serves as a watchdog. Civil society engages with authorities and decision makers. Information flows through and between communities. And the fuel that drives this engine is information, and therefore, access to information is critical. Freedom of information laws, which permit access to public information, are essential, but so are the means by which information is made available, be it through ICTs or the simple sharing of documents. Information can change the way we see the world around us, our place in it, and how to adjust our lives in order to maximize the benefit available through our local resources. Fact-driven decision making can significantly alter our political, social, and economical perspective. Therefore, one open and pluralistic media are perhaps most precious when they simply provide the mirror for the society to see itself. These moments of reflection are instrumental in defining community objectives, making course corrections when the society or its leaders have lost touch with each other or gone astray. The right to access of information can be interpreted with legal frameworks that support freedom of information as it applies to the information held by the public bodies, or in a wider sense to encompass both access and circulation of the information held by other actors, where it becomes intrinsically linked to the freedom of expression. Freedom of information and the transparency it promotes has a direct consequences on fighting corruption, which in turn has a tangible impact on development. Former World Bank President James Wolfensohn often identified the government corruption as the primary hindrance to development, and an independent media sector as the number one tool to fight public corruption. Press freedom and governance, ensuring freedom for the media around the world is a priority. Independent, free, and pluralistic media are central to a good governance in democracies that are young and old. Free media can ensure transparency, accountability, and the rule of law, promote participation in public and political discourse, and contribute to fight against poverty. An independent media sector draws its power from the community. It serves in turn empowers that community to be a full partner in the democratic process. Freedom of information and freedom of expression are the founding principles for open and informed debate. New technology will continue to evolve, and citizens to further shape their media environments as well as access a plurality of sources. The combination of access to information and citizen participation in media can only contribute to an increased sense of ownership and empowerment. Independent journalism, the kind that favors public interest, over political, commercial, or factional agendas is in peril. The rapid erosion of the business models underpinning median sustainability has depended a crisis in the freedom and safety of journalists around the world. UNESCO's World Trends in Freedom of Expression and Media Development Global Report 2021-22 compiles the grim evidence that journalism can no longer be taken for granted and outline actions for the global community to act swiftly to protect and promote press freedom and public access to free, independent, and pluralistic news media.
When you're covering humanitarian crises, journalistic information is often a matter of life and death.
Between 2010 and 2019, close to 900 journalists were killed because they're journalists.
Around the world, the COVID pandemic gave an excuse to crack down on press freedom.
Journalism doesn't have the revenues that it needs to do the kind of serious journalism, investigative reporting that is necessary.
Lies, laced with anger and hate, spread faster and further than facts.
Y reportes como el reporte de UNESCO ponen la lupa en el lugar que corresponde. Muestran que lo que puede parecer normal en una sociedad que no protege la libertad de expresión, en realidad no es normal.
We can be optimistic about the future of journalism because more and more people are realizing how important it is.
Yeah. So yesterday it was Vesak Day, that is Buddha Purnima, which is commemorated across the world, including United Nations. Vesak, that is the day of full moon in the month of May, is mostly sacred day to millions of Buddhists around the world. It was on this day of Vesak 2.5 millennia ago, in the year 623 BC, that the Buddha was born. It was on the day of Vesak that the Buddha attained enlightenment, and it was on the day of Vesak the Buddha in his 18th year passed away. So the General Assembly, by its resolution 54 by 115 of 1999 year, recognized internationally the day of Vesak to acknowledge the contribution that Buddhism, one of the oldest religions in the world, has made for over 2.5 millennia and continues to make the spirituality of humanity. The day is commemorated annually at the United Nations headquarters and other UN offices in consultation with the relevant UN offices and with permanent missions, which has also wished to be consulted. So the teachings of Buddha and his message of compassion and peace and goodwill have moved millions. Millions around the world follow the teachings of Buddha, and on the day of Vesak commemorate his birth and the attainment of enlightenment, and also the passing away of the Buddha. So it commemorates both the birth and death of Buddha and also the enlightenment of Buddha. A message for the Buddhist everywhere. It is indeed a felicitous opportunity while commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and also passing away of Gautam Buddha, to celebrate his message of compassion and devotion to the service of humanity. This message is today perhaps more relevant than ever before. Peace, understanding, and a vision of humanity that supersedes national and other international differences are essential if we are to cope with the complexities of the nuclear age. This philosophy lies at the heart of the Charter of the United Nations and should be prominent in all our thinking, especially during this International Year of Peace. Javier Pérez de Cuellar, as quoted by the former Secretary General Javier Pérez de Cuellar to the Buddhist on the day of Vesak in May 1986. UNESCO is currently implementing a project to develop a unique Buddhist heritage route for sustainable tourism development in South Asia, with support from the Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOISA. South Asia is to host the rich Buddhist heritage that is exemplified by the World Heritage properties across the region. Religious movements and religions have had an important role in the history of the Silk Roads. It is notably the case of Buddhism, which had considerable influence on the early trade routes. Within these growing trade route networks, Buddhism started its development from Indian subcontinent and reached the other regions along the Silk Roads. Buddhism dogma was to a great extent in the favor of trade and encouraged commerce and investment. Today, we have various other commemorations. Like today is International Drone Day, which is of recent innovation, which is contributing a lot. And today is also National Tourist Appreciation Day and National Wildfire Community Preparedness Day, and also World Ankylosing Spondylitis Day, and various other commemorations. So we'll look at each one of the commemorations. So International Drone Day is celebrated on the first Saturday of May every year. So this year it falls on May 6th, that is today. It raises awareness of drones and their various applications in the civilian sector, from search and rescue operations to package delivery and dropping of medical supplies. Two British drone operators, Sarah and David John O'Neill, came up with the idea for this holiday in 2014. Their goal is to highlight the positive and helpful aspects of drones. This combats the skepticism and paranoia that many people around the world have about them. Thousands have celebrated this holiday or commemoration ever since then. The earliest models of drones date back to 1800s in the form of balloons and aerial torpedoes. They were used by militaries for airstrikes, surveillance, and target practice. World War I marked the invention of first unmanned aerial vehicle, a pilotless torpedo built by the Dayton Wright Airplane Company. In World War II, drones were used by both sides to train air fighters and offer support on combat missions. By the 1970s, countries like Israel used drones on military operations, such as the Yom Kippur War. The 1990s saw the rise of US military spending on drone development, resulting in much sleeker and more advanced models like the MQ-1 Predator drones and its successor, the MQ-9 Reaper. It wasn't until around 2006 the world saw the use of drones for the non-military applications. They are now in charge of inspecting pipelines, evaluating crops, and assisting with disaster relief activities. They are also in charge of border security and surveillance. Drones had gained appeal among government agencies and entrepreneurs by 2013. But it wasn't until 2016 that the United States government allowed commercial drone operators. Since then, FAA has awarded thousands of drone permits each year. So this is a regulating authority. The farming sector witnessed an increase in the use of drones for the inspection and management of crop fields, and drones were also used industrially. Drones such as in inspection of oil pipelines, marine vessels, and power generation installations like nuclear plants. In 2021, US aviation regulations approved the first fully automated commercial drone flights. All companies meeting these approvals can operate drones without having operators on site controlling or monitoring them. So the first civilian drone was in 1935. René Galdeni, a model aeroplane hobbyist, became the first civilian to develop an unmanned piloted vehicle. FAA prohibits the commercial use of drones in a policy statement in 2007 in US. Amazon declares the intention to deliver packages using drones in 2030 for deliveries. And the FAA's first operational drone test site is opened in North Dakota in the US in 2014. The first legal delivery of medical supplies took place within the US in 2015. So the type of drone and its applications determine how hard they are to operate. Flying a drone in an open field is much easier than using one to shoot a wedding or track wild animals. The operator's skill and time spent practicing also counts. And do you need a drone license? Yes, this depends on your jurisdiction and the type of drone you are operating. Some areas have no distinction between commercial drones and hobbyists. Others have laws dictating who can operate or own the drones and which type of drones they can use. In India also, we have regulations with the use and owning of drones. The use of drones continues to grow for commercial, environmental, medical, and military applications. It is no longer a recreational activity, but a job. The demand for professional drone pilots is set to increase by more than 50% in next 5 years. So there's no better way to commemorate or celebrate International Drone Day than with a hands-on experience. Well-made drones aren't cheap, but the good news is there are plenty of affordable options on the toy drone market that you can choose from. Drone enthusiasts often have clubs, and on this International Drone Day, members meet up to celebrate activities including flying drones and teaching others how to operate them. They may also have events like races and skill competitions. And many people have prejudices against drones because of the negative news reports and the fears over their privacy. And there are also some incidences that also violated that gave rise to such prejudices. Drones are also used to do good, like flying on search and rescue operations or delivering medical supplies to remote areas. International Drone Day is a good time to teach others about the positive side of drones. Drones make farming cheaper. It is estimated that the use of drones could amount to $200 million in annual crop savings by 2035. According to the FAA in 2021, the US had 9 lakh registered drones, including around 5 lakh drones registered for recreational use in the US, and which has almost 1 million drones. And drones are powered by electricity, making them a more eco-friendly alternative for large-scale industrial use because they don't pollute the environment with toxic emissions. But these batteries also emit certain fumes and gases that can also be hazardous. Of course, every technology, every invention has certain limitations. In the future, autonomous drones will operate in very specific and complex environments, from agriculture and manufacturing to surveillance and mining, and will revolutionize industry. By 2023, it's expected that the drone shipments of retail items will hit 122 million. And soon there will be a day, instead of Swiggy boy or instead of any other delivery, you will see courier delivery boys. You can see drones flying in and around to deliver you the products which you have ordered, including essentials also. Because drones are also equipped with cameras and also mic and speakers and other audiovisual systems, which not only collects the data of the receiver and also the location and also the timing and various other aspects which are required for the confirmation and the receipt of the delivery and also improving this efficiency of systems. And this can also pose a greatest challenge for the unemployment. Of course, employment is constantly increasing, but in different ways. We need to adapt to the changing environment. More and more jobs are created, but there is no doubt that if we don't adapt to the changing environment, we need to, we'll soon fade out. We need to learn even, where you can also get trained on operating drones, or you can also get trained on other technologies, and also even traditional, we need also farmers. No matter what we have, at the end of the day, we feel hungry. At the end of the day, we feel thirsty. And if we don't feed ourselves, and there is a greater, again, the entire livelihood or life is at stake. So no matter certain industries are there like agriculture, retail, and this construction and various other industries, food, textile, they are going to be there forever. No matter the trends may change, the designs may change, the patterns may change, or the way they are operating may change, but they will continue to exist. So similarly, we need a lot of tradesmen, skillsmen, like plumbers, fitters, though, still machines cannot do everything by itself. So certain trades are still in high demand, irrespective of the traditional methods used. But at the same time, they also need to be trained on the modern technologies and modern innovation so that they can handle the both and leverage the benefits of the both and stay employed and performing at their best. Today is also commemorated as World Ankylosing Spondylitis Day. It is usually observed on the first Saturday of May, but it moves to second Saturday if the first one falls on May 1st. So this year it falls on May 6th, and many of you might be hearing this disease for the first time or wondering what it is and why you haven't heard it before, because it was previously considered rare disease that has gained prominence over these years and has forced initiatives to spread awareness of it. Ankylosing spondylitis, AS, in the form of inflammatory arthritis that targets the back and pelvic joints, affecting more than 3 million people in the United States alone. The cause of ankylosing spondylitis is believed to involve a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Most patients with AS have a specific human leukocyte antigen known as HLA-B27 antigen, which causes an autoimmune or autoinflammatory response in patients. Diagnosis of this disease is typically based on the symptoms with support from medical imaging and blood test. Ankylosing spondylitis has no cure. Treatments such as medication, exercise, physical therapy, and surgery in rare cases may improve symptoms and prevent worsening. Ankylosing spondylitis has been around for a long time, as it was distinguished from rheumatoid arthritis by Elias Galenus, most popularly known as Galen, a Greek physician, surgeon, and philosopher in the Roman Empire. Skeletal evidence of the disease was thought to be found in the skeletal remains of a 5,000-year-old Egyptian mummy, but a subsequent report found that it was not a case of AIDS. The first account of pathologic changes to the skeleton, possibly associated with the disease, was published by Bernard Corner in 1691. In 1818, Benjamin Brodie became the first physician to document a person believed to have active AS. In 1858, David Tucker published a booklet that described the case of Leonard Trask, who suffered from severe spinal deformity due to ankylosing spondylitis. It became the first documented case of AS in the United States, owing to its indisputable description of the characteristics of the disease. Over the years, others in the medical profession gave adequate descriptions that permitted an accurate prognosis of AS. Vladimir Bekhetrev of Russia in 1893, Adolf Stumpel of Germany in 1897, and Pierre Mary of France in 1898 all gave their descriptions and now have their last names as an alternatives for ankylosing spondylitis. So thus, AI is distinguished from rheumatoid arthritis in 2nd century AD, and the first account of pathologic changes to the skeleton possibly associated with AS is published by Bernard Corner in 1691. Life expectancy for people living with AS is the same as that of a general population, except for those who have severe forms of the disease or have complications. So a blue ribbon color or a blue color ribbon is used to show awareness and support for the patients of AS. So let's wear blue ribbon and show our support to them. Dan Reynolds, Imagine Dragons lead singer, was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis in his early 20s. As this disease is relatively unknown and it's a form of rare disease, it would be good to know exactly what the disease is about and how you can help others living with it. Observe this day by spreading awareness about it, like we are doing. A simple post on social media or organizing an event goes a simple message or a simple conversation like this can help many become aware of these diseases, which are of rare. Donate to the cause for AS, as the disease is lifelong and not many patients would be able to cope up with the financing of the treatment. AS tends to strike between the ages of 14 and 45, and like other forms of arthritis that develop later in a person's life. It can cause a condition known as uveitis, which represents as acute eye pain, blurred vision, and sensitivity to light. Men are greater risk for AS. Ankylosing spondylitis occurs twice as much in men as it does in women. When AS affects the upper part of the neck, it can create significant kyphosis, which is medical term for a hunched back. Smoking can lead to a more severe AS condition, and it worsens. As the disease is still relatively unknown, this day helps to spread awareness about it and helps more people who haven't been diagnosed with disease connect dots and go for a test. Living with the disease is hard enough. What's even harder is living with it alone. The day also helps to let them know they aren't alone in the fight, and it gives emotional support to the patients. As more awareness is spread about the disease and its effects, more donations to the cause would be given, and the more research also can be funded. This helps get medical practitioners better financing to treat patients living with AIDS. Today is also Herb Day in US. It encourages planting herbs and celebrate people who have culture of growing herbs. To learn more, it encourages people to learn more about herbs and cultivate them and use them more extensively in their daily lives. The term herb was a still bitty of scary word. Medical doctors, naturopaths, and acupuncturists were not yet comfortable incorporating herbs into their practices, and the public knew very little about the subject. So the Herb Day Coalition is made up of 5 non-profit organizations that wish to create a day for people to celebrate the healing power of herbs. So the world of plants was divided into trees, shrubs, and herbs by ancient, and herbs are also further classified into 3 groups, namely pot herbs, sweet herbs, and salad herbs. So pot herbs began to be referred as vegetables as they were no longer considered only suitable for the pot. In the early stages, botany was primarily a study of the pharmacological uses of plants. But by the Middle Ages, with the advent of humoral theory in medicine, the position was made that foodstuffs having their own humoral qualities could in turn alter the humoral temperaments of humans. Popular plants, parsley and sage, were often used together for cooking in medieval times. A renowned therapeutic nutrient of that age, chicken broth as well as green sauce were usually prepared with parsley and sage. Red peppers are said to be unusually rich in vitamin C, and a single serving of soup made from it contains more vitamin C than lemon juice. Red bell peppers are simply bright green bell peppers. Nutmeg serves psychotropic functions, and a high enough dose can reduce hallucinations. Vanilla is among 2 expensive species in the world, secondly only to saffron. Turmeric powder is very potent in managing symptoms of Alzheimer's and even more drugs. It is prescribed more than drugs prescribed for it. And herbs are medicinal, serve a great medicinal purposes and can be used to treat a variety of illness. So learn something new today and do research what you can treat with the herbs. It can be help to you or someone. Some herbs and spices are tasty and add flavor to our everyday meals. They are great for our soups and roasts. Herbs do not harm the environment and therefore growing them is safe. Get your green thumbs ready and start planting today. Today is also commemoration for Childhood Stroke Awareness Day. It is also known as Pediatric Stroke Awareness Day to bring awareness to the national crisis of pediatric strokes, a seemingly rare yet critical issue that often flies under the radar for millions of people. Since the day of its creation in 2002, sheds light on the strokes and heart attacks occurring in children. Right from infancy, thousands of kids are at risk of stroke, yet parents and guardians are not equipped with the ways to tackle them. The sudden occurrence of one through the observation, information, and timely detection of symptoms and urgent care instructions and distributed to the public. So strokes rank among the top 10 causes of pediatric deaths in the US. Survivors of a stroke often suffer long-term neurological disabilities such as paralysis, vision, and speech problems, and intermittent seizures. Children aren't considered to be at risk of strokes, heart attacks. It has long been believed that the strokes only occur in the elderly, but it can affect any group, any age group, starting as early as infants. 26 of every 1 lakh children and 6 out of every 1 lakh newborns suffer from a stroke each year, of which 12% are fatal. This statistic underscores the importance of dedicating a day to the cause, and it's a medical emergency that can cause permanent damage to survivors. A stroke, an abrupt neurological injury, is caused by the interruption of blood flow to the brain due to clotting or the bursting of an artery. Stroke patients can suffer irreversible neurological damage, including the impairment of the mobility, altered behavior, hindrance in academic performance, and even death. Childhood Stroke Awareness Day brings much needed awareness to this issue. It is an initiative of Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, which created the first ever program dedicated to pediatric stroke patients in 2002. The hospital continues to raise awareness about the preventive measures, symptoms, and timely treatment of strokes in children. Following the footsteps of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, the US Senate unanimously passed a resolution in 2007 to designate the first Saturday of May as National Childhood Stroke Awareness Day. A stroke is often painless and doesn't manifest any dramatic symptoms in the body other than a severe headache or untimely tingling in the left arm. There are no correctable causes of pediatric strokes since it is a brain injury caused by interruption of blood flow to the brain. It is slightly uncommon for kids to have a stroke, although a stroke can happen to anyone, including children, infants, and neonatal fetuses. Weakness or sudden numbness, slurred speech, balancing troubles, limping, vision loss, and seizures are all symptoms of a stroke. Many parents and guardians are completely unaware of the preemptive symptoms of a stroke, which often turns fatal if not brought under immediate medical supervision. The Childhood Stroke Awareness Day. Let's learn all about the symptoms of a stroke and arm ourselves with immediate first aid care. A great number of pediatric strokes cause hemiplegia in patients. The retreat brings families of kids suffering from hemiplegia together to form a support system and is open to everyone in an annual retreat in Texas. Every adult should be aware of the glaring symptoms and immediate care that must be administered to the kids who are at risk of a stroke. Today, share this information with your friends. And the risk of recurrent strokes after initial stroke stands between 15 to 18%, and it's a repetitive cycle. The symptoms of a stroke are often misdiagnosed with common conditions such as migraines or epilepsy. Roughly 1 in 2,000 infants under 1 month are at a risk of perinatal stroke. An occurrence of pediatric strokes is as common as brain tumors in children. Roughly 60% of all stroke survivors exhibit permanent neurological deficits such as cerebral palsy or partial paralysis. There is negligible awareness about the risk of pediatric strokes among the public, with the majority dismissing the idea of heart problems in children. Though the awareness campaign or through the campaign, parents and caregivers are armed with critical information about the detection, treatment, and aftercare of stroke patients. Today is also National Nurses Day in US. At the end of 19th century, the lady with the lamp or she is more widely known. Florence Nightingale founded modern nursing, and thanks to her strict use of hand washing and hygiene practices while caring for wounded soldiers in the Crimean War, Nightingale and her helpers reduced the death rate from 42% to 2%, ushering in nursing as we know it today. So this is a day to recognize the important role nurses play in our lives by celebrating nurses. And this National Nursing Week, which concludes on May 12th, starting from today, is observed in US in October 1954 to mark the 100th anniversary of Nightingale's pioneering work in Crimea. In 1953, Dorothy Sutherland of the US Department of Health, Education and Welfare sent a proposal to the President Eisenhower asking him to proclaim a Nurse Day in the October of the following year to coincide with the anniversary. Although the president didn't act, the celebration was observed thanks to a bill sponsored by the Representative Francis P. Bolton, and the following year, a new bill was introduced to Congress lobbying for the official recognition of the celebration. 20 years later, in February 1974, President Nixon proclaimed a National Nurse Week to be celebrated annually in May. Over the next 8 years, various nursing organizations, including the American Nurses Association, ANA, rallied to support calls for a National Recognition Day for nurses on May 6th, which was eventually proclaimed by the President Ronald Reagan in 1982. With over 3 million workers in the US today, nurses make up the highest percentage of the US healthcare workforce. Although you might not imagine, nurses are more likely to sustain a back injury on a shift than construction workers, and they walk an average of 5 kilometers per shift, as caring for others' health is such an active job. If you think nurses are only found in hospitals, then think again. The majority of registered nurses, 59%, practice elsewhere, such as in nursing home or on home visits. They work across communities to keep people worldwide happy and healthy. And the National Nurses Day is the perfect opportunity to show your appreciation for the important work. Buddhist Indian ruler Ashoka ordered hospitals to be built along the routes of travelers at the first hospitals in 268 BC. Always playing a big role in hospitals, the nursing staff is loved and appreciated. The most common tradition for expressing gratitude is to registered nurses is throwing them a party, inclusive of all shifts. The celebration is hosted by the medical faculty and staff, with some even having fun decorations and nurse-themed cookies and cupcakes. Volunteers are also active today, putting themselves into nurses' shoes to truly appreciate their work. Nurses spend a lot of grueling hours at the a lot at the hospital, so their stories and encounters also brought into spotlight and documented by social media bloggers and storytellers. So with this, we shall end the commemorations today. And we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. You can see the feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. You can see International Webinar Series overall feedback form. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. And those who have not registered, the feedback link has the registration link has been shared in the chat box. We request everyone to quickly register every day. Now you can fill the feedback form. Then if you have not registered, every day you can register using the same link. As we have some time, let me show where, because some new participants have joined. So let me show how you can access. As some of you might already know the website address is sricasw.org, sricasw.org. Here, you can see these are daily international webinar series schedule. You can click on this. Here there is a link, or you can also directly visit. This is a sub-site where it is entirely dedicated to the international webinar series. Here you can just go to the date and click on the date to find certificates. But this platform has, here it will take minimum, or depending on the prevailing situations. So it can take up to 15 working days to get your certificate updated. That is the maximum time. And again, that depends on the completion of formalities by everyone, because we cannot go one by one. And if we see basically we look at how many participants have attended and how many have completed their registration and provided feedback. If most of them or everyone of them have submitted, then we will immediately go for processing. Say it happens that only few participants register or only few participants provide feedback and others, many attend. So we will keep them on hold so that, they can come back and complete the formalities, and we can generate all at once, so that we can avoid, doing again, same the work again and again as we have limited resources of time. So that is one aspect. That's why things get delayed for the benefit of all. It's not just, and again, that is a minimum time. And here you can see the calendar where every day events are there. See, you can see every day. And you can add this calendar to your Android device or in your system or laptop or iOS, Mac, any. And if you click on this, or you can download this file and you can open it or import in your Outlook or in your Google Calendar or any calendar that you are using. And all the details are mentioned. You can see the joining link is there on every page. And joining link is very simple. It is the coordinator's mobile number and the passcode is 2022, the previous year. Very simple to easy to remember also. And what is the eligibility criteria? It is given there here, same as for all the events. And they, for all these events which are happening daily, there is only one single registration form, but every day you need to fill the same form. It will be asking dates and other things that keep changes. Because on a day-to-day basis, system takes the data and verifies for registration so that your system generates. So it is mandatory. Don't think that why I need to fill daily data. Again, the system will also not give you daily certificates. So that's why it is very important. So that is where you can find here all the details are there, more or less the same. For requesting certificate, again, I have shown you yesterday also. Anyway, we'll show you again here. Actually, it's very simple. I don't know why many people are feeling it complicated. See here in the menu, it's very short menu. Actually, these are, we are adding here, otherwise, to make it simplified, it is there here in the main page. I will show you. First one is the latest conference that is happening. This is the recent one. So it is there. So it will be removed from here to just make it short. So this would be the upcoming conference in November, where we will be concluding this 2 years of celebrations, and this publication will also be released with all the proceedings and your presentations, your paper publications, all will be released. So this is the function that we are planning, program that will be in November. You can register now. The registration, pre-registration form is there. You can open it and register. So apart from that, we have 2 upcoming conferences. I will show you. Otherwise, where you can find, you can just scroll down. This is the main page. Once you type the website address, you will get this main page. Now here, just scroll down. Here is a flyer for daily events. In the flyer also, all the details have been mentioned. See, daily, based on the events and requirements, we just name it, but more or less all events are same for us. But for the participants and presenters, based on the occasions, it changed. But for us, it's more or less all the events are same, because every day we need to put same efforts. For the mode and the content delivery, the kind in depth of knowledge and various things differentiates. So here on the flyer, it is clearly mentioned dates and the commemorations we are doing. So the link, as I already mentioned, it is mobile number, same coordinators mobile number. And passcode is 2022. Very easy to remember, no need to. And the eligibility, the steps, the procedures to be followed, very simple. It has been clearly mentioned on the flyer. And for regular updates, what you can do, this form is same form for all the days, except special programs. So you can use the same form which has been shared in chat box every day to fill it. And we have clearly mentioned also that about publication, there are queries stating that we have submitted paper, but it is not published. It is not published after every event because it's very costly. And not only that, for publishing, we need a minimum quantity of papers. The book, at least a book should have a minimum 50 papers or 100 papers, right? Not everyone has a full paper. So that's why we cannot, technically also it is not feasible to publish after each event. So what we are doing is, we will do it after the end, after August, after we conclude this, we'll be sending you an email to send based on the publisher. We have already got the consent. I mean, we are yet to receive the guidelines and we are negotiating. So once we receive the format, size of the book and other instructions, we will share you so that you can send your article accordingly and we can accordingly get that published. So here it is clearly mentioned, paper publications, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, full series proceedings and also full papers are published in ISBN books or ISBN journals based on the volume. Again, when we email you, if you are interested to publish your work, we'll see if the volume is more. The proceedings itself will take 2 years proceedings, will somewhere go up to 750 pages each day. If we have 1 page dedicated to 1 day proceedings, then definitely it will go to 700, 800 pages, including front cover, preface, index, and all those things. So definitely, if papers are also there, definitely papers are there. If they haven't yet published after they have presented in our platform, or if they still want to publish, so all these will add up some more pages, so it can run into 2 volumes or 3 volumes. Accordingly, we'll see. After receiving from your end, we'll see and accordingly we'll plan. So it is clearly mentioned after series completion in 2023. Everything is clearly mentioned. Only thing is you have to go through, read it properly. So e-certificates we have mentioned. The registration has to be mandatory and the formalities here. And then the website address is clearly mentioned. This is microsite address. This is main website. And you have Telegram group where you can get daily updates. There is a Facebook group, every day we post, and there is Facebook page also. So you just get connected on this and daily you will be receiving updates. You need not worry. Very simple. So all the information which you require is there. The registration link is there. The joining link is there. What you need to do to get to be eligible for the certificate is mentioned. And the website where you need to look for your certificates is also mentioned. So for presenters, it's same procedure. Those who want to present daily, the same procedure applies. Once you fill the registration form, you have to send these details. You can copy this format and send the details to email address. So you can send to this email address. And here, these are the upcoming conferences which are scheduled. You can have the list here. You can register now from here itself. So all the conferences are there here only. The only thing is you are not taking time to go through it. So this is an upcoming conference on 20 to 27th May. We'll be sharing you, circulating this conference flyer soon, which is on biodiversity. And in June, on occasion of World Environment Day, we have one more conference, 1 week. These three are 1 week conferences. You can also present, you can also participate. There is 1 week from 5th to 11th June. We have one more 1 week conference. This will be from 20th to 27th May. And this will be from 5th to 11th. Registration forms, links will be updated here. And this is the November. Sorry. Yeah. So this is a November conference. For that also registration form, pre-registration form is available where you can express your consent. And these are the recent collaborations where we collaborated with others or others came with us to collaborate, and we had organized recent Pure Earth and Environment Conference. And from starting first conference onwards, we are part of them. So every year, 2 times we are organizing this. And we had this organization also. And apart from that, all our conferences are there. See, recent psychology conference. It's very easy. You just open, I am on the main site only. On the very first page only, all these details are there. I don't know, because we don't have interest, we don't check. That's why we are, we need to change our attitude basically. That's the only thing we need to do. All details are there here. See, recent psychology conference is there. You can just click on this. It will take you to conference website. And there is a registration form here. To register directly, it will open the registration form. Similar way, just before that, we had one more conference, Earth Day. It is there here. And before that, there was 1 week. So all the conferences, see, in the reverse order, you can see all the conferences are listed. Now, where you are facing difficulty, only because you don't have that attitude, or you are not checking the details. All the conferences are there. For daily series, you have this, a microsite, but all the special events, weekly events, or 10 days events, whatever it is there, all are given here. You can also find with the schedule. And again, here also we have mentioned. All the conferences are there. Now, where you are finding difficulty, registration form is there. And whenever you click on that, it will take you to the conference web page where you can see the information. And you can know about events. Like if you would like to know about us, basically, this is the page where you can read about us, why we are doing, what we are doing. Here we have there. You can read this. How many have read? You don't know. What we are doing. We are doing commemorations and celebrations of what? This is the thing we are doing on this platform. And what is our policy? So we have, this is very important because you will know what we are doing, why we are doing, how we are doing, and what is that we are expecting. Everything is there in this one single page. See, we have clearly mentioned dignity and respect. We are talking that is human rights, right to be respected, right to be dignity, irrespective of anything might happen. We should behave properly. And equity and equality, that is equal opportunity for all. We are giving no discrimination. Everyone who is willing and following instructions, they are getting opportunity. And accessibility and affordability, that's why all the programs are completely free. So no one is left behind because they are not able to pay and they are not able to attend. And the platform is free, though we are paying because we are organizing so many events, we pay. But for you, joining Zoom app is free, YouTube is free, you can download it. And otherwise also you can join from browser, but it's always good that both are free apps, you can download and join it. So we believe in all these values and see dignity and respect, we give respect. So in the same way, we also expect the same way to reciprocate by all of you. And we also promoting equality and equity. Everyone, whoever is following the rules and regulations, guidelines, everyone is being given opportunity. And we believe in accessibility and affordability. So all the events are completely free. It's not just because, something, but we truly believe in these concepts, not just preaching, but also we believe in practicing. That's why we have kept it so. And we have mentioned no donations, no fundraising, no sponsorships. So there is no advertisement or no commercial activity on this platform. It's strictly prohibited also. And certificates. And this is not platform just for coming for the certificate. Certificates are just a token of gratitude and appreciation. See, initially, when we started long back, this platform, or this platform with Sri Holistic Health Foundation, initially, even Sri Research Center was not there at that time. That was again sponsored, and complete this entire institute and activities are funded by Sri Holistic Health Foundation India, and that also doesn't take any single pice from anyone. Because there were a lot of research activities that we wanted to take up. So we had to, establish a new organizations, all the team members, because I was there since long time. So this new organization has come. But again, this also we made it completely non-profit. And So that's how it is promoting the research and development and publications here. Though there is other organization also that is into a sustainable research, but that is irrelevant here. So no need of talking about that. And see, as a token of gratitude and appreciation, it's not your right, it's not our right. It's only certificates are just a token of gratitude and appreciation. Because you are spending your valuable time and resources and you need to follow the instructions. That is both sides, because documentation is important. From your side, you need to complete the documentation. From our side, we will also complete formalities and issue you certificate. So both sides documentation is important. You can see, as a token of gratitude and appreciation, we are providing certificates to ones who complete the eligibility criteria and complete all the formalities. And our policy, quality and quantity, we also carefully select the kind of content that comes, the kind of quality, as we have mentioned, to have at most quality. The minimum presenter has a PG qualification, and almost all, 90, more than 80 to 90% are all our participants and presenters, both are, research scholars, PG scholars, students, and above that only. So there are no, very rarely we see, those who are doctors or scientists or bureaucrats like IPS, IFS, or administrators. So those keep joining. So the rest of them are those. And very rarely some, this family, those who are not working or those who are not into profession, they keep joining. And some are these retired professionals because of that. Otherwise, if we give them exemption, 100% are purely academic participants only, academic presenters only. That makes it a truly academic platform, though we discuss in both academic and non-academic ways. And we have collaborations also, and that is also completely free. So this is our quality policy, where we have policies we don't just preach, we also practice. That's why this platform is there, what we are maintaining, these are the policies we maintain. So you can go through this. It's all small, it will not take half an hour also. Then you will understand what we are doing, why we are doing all these things. And here, so this is the biggest part. Of course, every product has, every service has terms and conditions. So this is the biggest part on the website. I mean, lengthiest part, like in constitution. So here you have all the terms and conditions. Now you cannot behave, as we said, I cannot behave as I like. You cannot behave as you like. We all are governed on this platform with certain rules and regulations, terms and conditions, for you as well as for me and for everyone. So here is the terms and conditions. Have you ever read that? You are coming on the platform, like wherever we are purchasing something, there is a terms and conditions. We need to read. Generally, we don't read. Here also there are terms and conditions. You can go through it. Of course, it's not so only. If you have time, you can go through. And all details are there in detail. If you have grievances, complaints, concerns, what you have to do regarding awareness, training, any program, please contact us through proper forms, channels of communication. And we will do our best to assist you and try to resolve your problem And just because you are submitting a concern or complaint to us doesn't release you from your any other obligations. Here, payment is just we have put because there is no, initially we thought of organizing because anyway, our other organization is completely non-profit, but we have made this also non-profit. So there is no scope for any payment. But just ignoring that, any other obligations you have. So, you cannot get away blaming the organization that, you have to do your duty properly. Then you can ask organization if you have any queries, concerns, and our limited liability also we have mentioned. And login about access, about data protection, privacy, confidentiality, about taking photos or recording, all these. If you are taking screenshots, that's a violation. Basically, that's a violation. But okay, so we are not so particular about it. But all these are there. You can't just simply copy and take whatever you want in the platform. You need a written consent, whatever you are doing. But it's okay, fine. This is like terms are there to protect us and to protect you also. So promotional materials, how we are using data, and our obligations, your obligations. And what if events get cancelled, postponed? And of course, this payment again, refunds, these are not applicable because all programs, it is clearly mentioned. All programs are free unless stated. So all are free only. Just we have put, initially we had that clause, it is there. Now, most importantly, first, this is the violation many are doing. Acceptance of terms and conditions. So whoever is joining, you are binding to these terms and conditions. What you have to do here, this is very important for everyone who is joining and who are not following instructions. By completing the registration form for a particular awareness training, webinar, seminar, or conference or workshop or symposium or outreach program, you are agreeing to the terms and conditions set out below. All these terms and conditions you are agreeing. Then only you are submitting your registration form. So again, you are violating by not following the instructions, you are violating the agreement and you are not entitled for any benefits. You are blaming, but in fact, it is a legal contract binding here that you are not adhering and you have no right. You have no privilege or you have no benefits that can be given to you. So you need to follow when you are coming here. You need to follow the organization instructions. It is clearly mentioned here. Generally, I also did not read after a long time I'm taking this. But yeah, it's a good thing that it has come up now. So here you can see, you read this, at least just read this first paragraph. By completing the registration form for a particular awareness or training, webinar, seminar, conference, workshop, symposium, outreach program, you are agreeing to the terms and conditions set out below, and they will be incorporated into the contract between us. And you will ensure that your stakeholders, this is also for organizations, collaborations, and everyone. So whoever it is joining, attending the awareness programs or whatever the events on behalf representing them or you or your organization shall comply with these terms. So you are joining, so you are agreeing for all these terms and conditions. So in fact, by not following, you are violating these terms and conditions. So you have no right. You cannot blame without following them. We can only blame you, saying that you are not following it. So this is what the reality is. Okay? And the contract is formed when we send or share you an event, program, booking, registration, presentation, participation, collaboration, publication, confirmation. So once you submit the registration form, then you are automatically getting into contract and you are supposed to follow the instructions and guidelines to seek benefit. If you are not following, then you are not entitled to any benefit, neither for presentation, nor for participation, nor for certificate, anything. And we clearly mentioned certificate is just a token of gratitude, not your right or not our right. So everything is there here. See, but see, things are there on paper, like we have many things on paper, but this is binding on everyone, including you and us, me and everyone. These are there. And to request format after, wait for 15 working days. If you don't see, this is the format. See, this is very important. Those who are not following instructions, again, I'm saying you are violating the terms and conditions under which you have joined this platform. You need to follow the instructions. You are not following. Again, this is what, many mistakes done by you. You don't understand where you are, what you are doing, what you are supposed to do. Here, this is a format. Unless and until you use this format, we are not going to respond to any certificate queries because we need all these details to help you. System needs all these details to help you. So the only way you can avoid all these things is only just to follow instructions. Register carefully, attend, provide feedback, and then forget about all these things. And while joining, make sure you are joining with your name, and rest else is taken by the system. So very simple. By not following, you will end up messing with all these things. And to help you, again, we need all these details. Again, for the system to generate, these are all the details system is going to check. Now, see how simple things you are complicating. So that's why the easiest method is to follow the instructions, as mentioned. Everything is there on the website. Now, what is not there? Tell me. All the flyers are there, everything is there. So that's how you can get all the information. And these upcoming conferences we'll share you today or tomorrow. You can register for it. And if you want to present also, you can present. All the publications will be made only after August. Again, you have to submit your papers, or if you want your presentation to be proceedings, you need to write up a summary. We are asking in the form to give a summary or abstract. So that we will again send you a form, don't worry. So in that form, you carefully fill it up, and that we will be publishing. So that's all for today. Everything is there in website. You can go read, happily follow them and understand, and then we'll together have a happy journey. Many haven't yet filled the feedback form. I can see why, what happened. Request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. It's almost from 40 minutes, the feedback form is active, but not even 50% fill the feedback form. That means they don't need certificate. Okay, no problem. So we'll be closing this for the day. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. If you would like to make presentations, you can feel free. Use the same registration form and share details. Only additional task for presenters and participants is participants need not share anything, but presenters need to share their details and files, their PPT and all. That is only difference. Thank you everyone for your time and efforts and joining us. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.